What is going on, YouTube? Lamont at large. Today we are in Independence, Missouri, and I'm gonna give an update about a story that I did on my channel a few years ago, and that is about the murder of Jennifer Long, committed by one scumbag extraordinaire, Wesley Ira Purkey. Now, Wesley Ira Purkey was born in Wichita, Kansas, a prototypical crap childhood. It was wrought with abuse, both physical and sexual. This guy was diagnosed as a schizophrenic when he was around 18 years of age. Caught his first case around 1970. It was a robbery. He did time at the Kansas State Penitentiary. He gets out. I don't even think he's out a year. He gets put right back in, catches another case. He gets released in 1980. He's not even out a year again and catches another robbery. They decide, him and his friend, to rob a man. Purkey grabs his gun, makes the man get down on his knees, and pumps 2 bullets right into the back of his head. However, miraculously, this man survives. He's left a physical disability for the rest of his life, physically disabled. And he testifies against him in court, and they sentence Purkey to 15 years to life in prison. Now, his prison record stinks. He's getting into fights. He's getting stabbed. He's ripping inmates over some reported drug deals behind bars. For some unknown reason, I guess he decides to become some kind of a model inmate, and he goes before the parole board in around 1997, and they say, you know what, you've been a great inmate, or whatever words they use. We're going to go ahead and give you parole. So this guy gets out about the summertime, July of 1997. We go to January 22nd, 1998, barely 7 months later. He's barely been out 7 months. And Jennifer Long, she's going to a new school here in the Kansas City area called East High. And she doesn't like the school that she's at. She doesn't know too many people, and she's being bullied because she dresses like a tomboy. So that day she decides to cut classes because she's just tired of the nonsense there. So she's walking on her way home, and she's excited because her dad told her that he was gonna go take her to start the process of getting her driver's license. Now, at the time, Jennifer's mom and dad were separated. She didn't have the best of upbringing, came from a very, very poor family. Kind of, I guess, would bounce around from her mother to her father's house. Her and her friends, one thing they love to do is smoke weed, and smoke a lot of it, and just party, do whatever. She's walking home, and she doesn't know this, but a man sitting in a pickup truck is looking at her. His name is Wesley Ira Purkey. So outside of a grocery store, he pulls up alongside of her and he says basically, hey, you want to hang out? You want to party? And she says yes. So Purkey takes Jennifer to his home, and for the next several hours in his basement proceeds to brutally rape her repeatedly. After he's done with her, he takes a knife and stabs her to death. After she's dead, he takes his electric chainsaw and, over the course of about 2 days, dismembers her. Takes her dismembered corpse, throws it in his fireplace, sets it on fire, throws diesel on the fire to make it burn even longer and hotter, reducing Jennifer to nothing more than bits of bone and ashes. He takes whatever's left of her, drives about 200 miles south of his home to a cesspool, and dumps it right over there. Okay, now Jennifer never came home. Her family's looking all over her. They're looking over for her. They're putting up posters. They're putting up flyers. She's on the local news here in the newspaper, to no avail. Another disappearance case, another unsolved disappearance. We're going to fast forward to about 7-8 months later. After that, Purkey is working as a plumber. So he gets a call from Mary Ruth Bales and says, hey, I got a stopped up sink or whatever. He goes over there, checks it out, and he says it's going to be $70. She says, all right, cool. She gives him the money. He takes the money. He says he'll be right back. He proceeds to go purchase some crack cocaine and a hooker. Later on, he comes back. He had a good time with that hooker and he wants some more crack cocaine. So he decides to take a claw hammer and kill this woman. I think she was 80 years old. Brutally. After she's dead, he's stalking around the house and now he's high on crack cocaine and he just killed another person. So he says, I gotta cover up my crime. So he's looking for gasoline somewhere so he could just set the house on fire and get out of there. Luckily, as he was looking around the house for things to steal or gasoline to set the house on fire, a neighbor seen him, looked very suspicious. They call the police. The police show up. They ask him what he's doing there. They check in the house, and through the window, they see Miss Bales' body. They immediately arrested him, and they charged him with her murder. In March of 2000, he is convicted of that crime, and he's sentenced to life in prison. While he's sitting in prison, he's thinking to himself, he says, you know, this prison is not what it's cracked up to be. I'm not having a good time here. The inmates don't like me because I'm a piece of filth. You know, I bet you those federal prisons, they're a lot nicer. You know, the other inmates, the ones that have done prison time in the feds, they're telling me how the food is nicer, the accommodations are better, you get TV, all this kinds of nonsense. And since he committed his crime against Jennifer Long and he transported her over state lines from Missouri to Kansas, that's a federal crime. So he contacts the police department in Kansas City and he says, my name is Wesley Ira Purkey and I have some information on an unsolved disappearance case. I murdered this girl. Her name was Jennifer Long. They meet up with him in prison. He explains the whole story. Now, this piece of garbage thinks that he's going to just plead guilty to this murder and that he's going to go and just do the rest of his time in Club Fed. Little did he know that the prosecutor for the feds decides, nah, screw that. We're going to seek the death penalty. And he tries to recant his confession, but the court doesn't accept it. They have it taped. They have it on video, all of that good stuff. They go to trial and he is convicted of her rape, kidnap, and murder and sentenced to die via lethal injection. And that sentence was carried out in July of 2020. That was before I did the video before he was executed. So he's given the lethal injection, and I do not know why this, I don't get it, but they decided to do an autopsy on Purkey after he was executed, and the medical examiner conducting the autopsy noted in his autopsy report that Purkey suffered from, quote, severe bilateral acute pulmonary edema and, quote, frothy pulmonary edema in trachea and main stem bronchi. So basically what that means is that fluid built up in his lungs and his throat as he was being executed, giving him a sensation of drowning. And the medical examiner dictated in his report that basically he suffered an excruciating and painful death. Now, that could not have happened to a better person than Wesley Ira Purkey, and that made me elated to have read that, because that man definitely deserved a painful death. This bench right here is made in memory of Jennifer. So as you can see, it's inscribed right here: in loving memory of Jennifer Ray Long, loving daughter, sister, cousin, niece, granddaughter, and friend. December 22nd, 1981 to January 22nd, 1998. Let It Be. Let It Be, of course, that Beatles song. That was her favorite song, as she said at her funeral, that she would want that song played. This bench was paid for a couple of people. They do a podcast called The Minds of Madness, and they got some people together and did a little fundraiser to pay for this bench to be brought here, because even though they had looked through that cesspool for Jennifer's remains, nothing was ever found. So this is all that's left of Jennifer Long, is just this bench in memory of her. Okay. All right, guys, I am out of here. A quick update to this story, and I am glad that piece of filth is no longer on this planet, sucking up our good air. All right, guys, I gotta go. The next stop, nobody knows, but I will catch up with you on the next video. I hope to see you there. Catch up with you later. Peace out.